So the lighting is super terrible and I'm very sorry about it, but this is the only time I have to talk to you because it's after 9, and when I get home it's gonna be like cheese and dinner and bed. So, and by cheese I mean for Remus. Anyway, recruitment is over. Bid day happened today, and I was the sort of like the they asked me to be their photographer, and normally what that means essentially is just try to get as much as you possibly can, because it's kind of chaotic bid day. If any of you are Greek, you'll know what I mean, but for any of you who are not familiar with the women's fraternity or sorority, depending on what you want to call them, system, there's this thing called formal recruitment, and it used to be called Rush. We don't call it Rush anymore for several reasons. One, because the connotation is not very positive, and two, it's not what it used to be. Now it's like a mutual selection process, and it's all very mathematic. There's lots of the potential new members, we call them P&Ms, and then the women in the fraternity, the sisters. Everybody's looking for matches on both sides. So the potential new members now have significantly more say into where they go than they used to. So it's now called formal recruitment or primary recruitment, depending on the campus. Anyway, so formal recruitment is usually several rounds going over several days. The first round is typically called open house, and those are pretty short, and that's when every potential new member goes to every single house. And they'll meet some of the sisters there and, you know, get a look at the house, the actual house, and get a very general view of everybody and hopefully make some connections. Then the potential new members will go back and they will rank the houses in the order of their interest, and they usually cut's not a nice word, and then they'll usually leave off or release one house, and then the women in the chapter will rank or score or whatever, and they'll be told how many women they can invite back by the Panhellenic, right? So that happens progressively throughout the week. There's usually a philanthropy night, a sisterhood night, and then it all ends with preference night, which is called pref for short. But throughout the week, the number of chapters that the potential new member puts on their list, their ranking list, gets shorter and shorter, right? Until preference night, where they only go to 2 different houses. And then at the end of preference night, they decide how they want to rank those, 1 and 2. So Panhellenic and the numbers, the mathematic formula that goes with it, tries their level best to make sure everybody gets a 1-1 match. That's the ultimate goal, is that everybody gets where they want to be, with who they want to be, and all that kind of stuff, right? So then preference night is the last thing, and that's usually it's usually a very formal night. There used to be food involved. There's not anymore, just because of the expense involved, and it sort of levels the playing field in terms of chapters that don't have, you know, the funds to be able to deliver a serious plate of food. But there's a ceremony, and it's like a little tiny peek into the ritual of each house. You don't share, you know, the fraternity secrets or whatever, because obviously these women aren't initiated yet, but it's like a little tiny peek into the feel of what ritual is like for each chapter. There are candles in this low lit, and it's just beautiful. I mean, it just feels so good. Like, it's just a good feeling. You know, when you're in the right house as a potential new member, and you sit down at that table and you talk to that woman and the sister there, and then you watch the women participate in the ceremony or the service or whatever, and you can just feel it. If it's right, you just feel it, and it feels amazing. So, right. So then bid day is when the potential new members pick up their invitation to join their women's fraternity or sorority, depending, again, on what you want to call it. We, Alpha Gamma Delta, identifies as a fraternity, because fraternity doesn't have anything to do with brothers. Fraternity is family. It's not boys, it's family. So we identify it as a fraternity, and we always have since 1904 when we were founded. So, anywho, So bid day, the potential new members pick up their invitations, and they open their invitations together, and then they get their t-shirts and they get together in their groups. So all of the new members who are now, all the potential new members are now new members of their fraternity, and they get together in a group, and then they are released in groups. So it's usually alphabetical, so like Alpha Delta Pi would go first, or whatever, and AZD and all that kind of stuff. So we're usually, since we're Alpha Gamma Delta, we're usually right there at the top. We're usually third, you know, 2 or 3 in that list. So the new members come out in a group, and then they, you know, they run or walk very quickly to the sisters who are waiting and screaming and excited, and you know, they get name tags, and which are usually fun things. Like I know 80 Pi, just for examples, because they were standing right next to us, 80 Pi made diamond name tags, so big diamonds with their names on it, with the new members' names on it, and they hang around their necks. And Alpha Gam did beach balls this year because it was Alpha Gam Paradise, and oh, so cute. So they had tank tops that were green and all about the paradise, and the banners were beautiful, and everybody had leis and cute Hawaiian themed hats, and oh my gosh, it was just so precious. It was so precious. Anyway, so then everybody takes pictures, blah, blah, blah. And then before we all go back to our chapter houses, Panhellenic Exec, which consists of members from different chapters, and something called a recruitment counselor, which are women of the chapters who have disaffiliated for the week to help the potential new members find their homes, right? So then at the end of the last thing of bid day is when the Pi Kais and Panhellenic Exec reveal which chapter they belong to. And that is always fun because they've disaffiliated for the week. They aren't living in their chapter homes. They haven't been able to talk to their sisters for a couple of weeks. And so it's always an emotional sort of return home. And everybody cries and makes signs. Like it's amazing. It's amazing to watch these women have this kind of connection. I love it so much. It makes me so, so happy. Right, so that was today. And I was asked to be their photographer, and it's a very informal kind of photographer because a big professional guy comes around with his big fancy camera and his big fancy lights and takes the full chapter photo and then the pledge class photos that they can buy online. They can buy later. So I just get like the candids and whatever I can get to, because the chapter's 160 something women. Like, it's a lot of women. Like a lot of women. So I get what I can. But it was just miserably hot. So hot. It was well into the 90s and very uncomfortable. I think I have sweat more. I have just sweat so much. But yeah, I am pulling into the garage now, and I am happy to be home. And tomorrow I go to work for the first time in a week, so I'll go to the office. I'll go to the office for the first time in a week, and then, there we go. There we go. Go to the office for the first time in the week, and I'll spend the morning there, and then I have PTO in the afternoon, so I'll come back and do laundry and pack because I go to Charlotte on Thursday morning. I think I leave my house at like 6:30-ish. I can't remember. But now I have talked for almost 9 minutes, so this is already longer than last week's vlog. Hooray! Well, I only cried twice, so that's positive. Here is my room for the night. We are now going to go find an Ulta because I ran out of moisturizer and the person I'm traveling with ran out of foundation, so Ulta seems like the logical choice. And then Noms. So my shirt was definitely not 3 different colors of white before I took it to the dry cleaner. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but this is kind of blue, this is yellow, and this is the same color, this white. But that's really weird. Do like my pants though. I'm pretty pumped about those. So I didn't remember my shirt being 3 colors because it's not really 3 colors. I had it on backwards. So we're gonna forget the chin thing that's happening here, and we're going to look at the hairs because I have tried I think it's called the Bedhead Deep Waver, and it's supposed to give you a beachy wave look. And I didn't put any product in it, and this is day 3 here, so it looks a little
Looks a little crusty, but I think I'm gonna like the way that looks. I think on like a day 2 hair and with a sea salt spray, I think that could look really cute. I mean, this bit right here obviously needs some love, but look at all that underneath. I'm happy. I am unpacking, Remus is helping, and I am watching Fun for Louie's North Korea vlogs. Apparently there was some pushback from the media saying that he was paid to just put out a good impression, but I find that a little ridiculous. That bothers me for 2 reasons. One, because these people probably have had no knowledge of who Fun for Louie is prior to his North Korea vlogs, and therefore really can't make a judgment on what he would and wouldn't do. So having watched Louie for about 3.5, almost 4 years now, I can guarantee that he's not paid by any government to say anything or put forth any kind of image. I don't know that he's ever done paid or advertised content for even a product. I believe he's partnered with a couple of things like some sort of sound system, like travel size sound system, and then maybe like a backpack maybe, I don't know, but it's never paid advertising or product placement. These are things that he's partnered with, and he does things separately with those people. It doesn't actually cross over into the vlog, if at all. The other thing that bothers me tremendously is that why are we punishing the people of North Korea when it's the government of North Korea that's the problem? That's the, I feel like we as the rest of the world really need to reach out to the citizens of North Korea, the people of North Korea, and bridge a gap, a major gap. We need to overcome that stigma that the government of North Korea has given the rest of the world about how we're terrible people and we're bad and we're all of these things. So if we can send people out there, like the group that Fun for Louie went with, it was a surfing group. They were teaching North Koreans and kids and stuff how to surf. And if we can encourage that sort of interaction and that sort of humanitarian outreach that doesn't defy the government over there, which makes everybody upset, and it makes everything deadly, if we can establish some kind of connection with the people that, people from Europe or North America or any other part of the world aren't terrible, horrible people, if we can establish some sort of warm, real human-to-human contact, that's only going to be good for the future of that country. And eventually, it's gonna happen. It's gonna have to happen. Eventually, the North Korean government is gonna fall. And whether that happens by outside hands or by inside hands, it would be better if the majority of the people who are suffering there have at least some contact with the rest of us, have at least some positive, non-government sanctioned contact. I feel like it's a little silly to blame Louie for trying to put forth a positive, the positive aspects of life there. I think it's a little ridiculous to blame him for trying to show that these people, North Koreans are just like everybody else. They laugh, they smile, they cry, they're hurt, they're scared, they're worried, and they have a significant more amount of stress and life-threatening humanitarian and human rights issues going on there. Why are we punishing them? Why are we blaming them? It just seems a little stupid. Seems a little stupid. Anyway. We can all just focus on this instead. It looks like I am not making up the bed, nor am I finishing the unpacking for a good long time. He's so kitty. So I totally forgot that I have to bake something for today's event thing at Tech. Don't mind the trash cans. They're just out to remind me to empty them tonight because trash comes tomorrow. I have to do that thing. I don't think I need brown sugar for these. I'm making French breakfast puffs. Ooh, I might have had a little flour catastrophe. Probably clean that up. I forgot I had to bake something for a Alpha Gamma thing at Tech that I'm going to tonight, and I meant to do it yesterday, but I have completely lost track of time. Target has sale on the Cokes. I have completely lost track of time, so yesterday, and ended up not doing anything really. I just kind of like slung myself over the couch and just forgot that I had stuff that needed to get done. Cinnamon sugar thing, vanilla. I mean vanilla. So now it is like 9:40 in the morning, and I have like maybe an hour to get this done before I have to get in the shower to get on the road. So bad time management. This cat. Just got back from Tech, and I am now finishing up the laundry, and I'm gonna bake P's cake because his birthday's tomorrow, and make some soup for Mom and Dad because they aren't feeling well. And I think that's gonna be my night. I'm not gonna go into the depths of this, but I did at today's ceremony at Tech it was an awards ceremony for people who couldn't attend the convention who won awards. So they have a special ceremony where they give out the honors, and I received one. It's the next step up from the one I currently wear, which is the Arc. This is the Arc with diamond, and I'm all gushy and emotional about it, so we're not gonna talk about it. But I'm very overwhelmed with the sweetness there. Right, so I just have to get my badge back from Caroline from recruitment, and I'll be able to put it on there. But what? Right, so that was my week. Encourage each other with sweetness and light, and I will see you next Sunday.